Stormy night out. Bull or bear? Looks like the coin got it right yesterday, and let's see what happens here. It is a bull. I would have thought anything but that tomorrow, but we'll see what happens in these crooked markets. Meanwhile, what have I got going on right here? I've got the live Hillsboro cam up. A little bit grainy, but really cool. There's the Hillsboro Lighthouse right there, shining its beam. I'll tell you a funny story. Or not a funny story, a funny thing about this lighthouse here. Old Fresnel lens, I believe, I'm going to show you this in a minute, built in 1907 or something like that. Hillsboro Inlet is really a cool place, a lot of history there. Again, that lighthouse was built in 1907, still uses what they call a Fresnel lens, I think it's called. I remember reading about it a while back ago, a traditional old style, old school lens, and it can be seen out to I don't know how many miles. But take a look at this, stormy, man. If you live in South Florida, I think we've got a cold front kind of pushing through, creates these storms, as you can see, the storm clouds here, and lots of rain. But the inlet, man, it's just a beautiful place. Take a look at that, really cool lighthouse. And well, anyway, I was going to share this with you, Hillsboro Lighthouse, 1907. Of course, we always talk about the Lauderdale by the Sea pier, but it fell down in the last storm. So it didn't fall down because of the storm, just lack of care, as you know from my videos that I've done here in the past. Love to show it to you, but there's no lights on there right now because it fell down. And most of the cams out there too, the underwater cam, the Deerfield underwater cam are down as well because there were some waves that damaged the underwater cams, but no less, Hillsboro Lighthouse 1907 still stands sentry at the Hillsboro Inlet in Pompano Beach with a candle power of 5.5 million and flashing white every 20 seconds. I was going to share an interesting story with you. When this thing flashes inside the inlet, there's a condo that's probably 10 or 12 stories high. And there's a window, there's a group of windows along that whole top of the condo that every 20 seconds they get the lighthouse, the full shine right in their windows. I don't know if it's their bedroom windows or living room windows, but can you imagine living on the 10th or 11th floor of a condo and every 20 seconds getting the 5.5 million candle watt flashing? The only reason I know that is because I've gone out early in the morning and the evening fishing, and when you come in, you just go, holy crap, it lights up that whole 10th floor or whatever floor it is. Cool story. And also a very cool lighthouse. And I know this is a gold and silver show, and I'm supposed to be talking about that kind of stuff, but really I like to share my local community stuff. Florida's a great place to live. And, you know, how many times can you talk about manipulation? And how many times can you talk about, well, we do all the time, but the price of silver, it's nice to add a little kind of local history and a local flavor dealing with the person that's talking to you right now. And I feel the same when I watch videos out there. I love watching videos of people living in their areas and the things that they do. Besides talking about their expertise, if you were just to sit there and watch a mechanic talking about, you know, the pure mechanics of everything, the technical aspects, not talking much, no character, it'd be boring. You got to add character to these videos, otherwise who the hell wants to watch them? I feel the same way when I'm watching videos. Meanwhile, tonight's video is the pot calling the kettle black. I'll tell you why this particular title fits so perfectly with whom I'm going to talk about. But meanwhile, let's get into CCE spot prices here. Just kind of, Ted Butler mentioned in his 19th, I think it was the February 19th report that he just did, that the COT reports were looking very unfavorable. It had appeared that the large commercials again had added to their short positions to cap the price of gold and silver, and I think that's exactly what we're seeing right now. But we talked about this earlier in the week. It's been a seasonal thing anyway. These crooked commercials have seasonally every November this time of year or thereabouts have monkey hammered the price of gold, silver, and platinum down as well. So we expected this in more than one ways. But Ted provides us the again, he shows the evidence in the COT reports that it is in fact large commercials that are doing this for no other reason than just to manipulate collusively these gold and silver markets. And sadly, that's true. I talk about it over and over and over. I'm sick of talking about it. That's why I like to talk about lighthouses and stuff. Let's take a look at the lighthouse. Let me breathe a little bit. Love this scene. So back into gold, silver, the crooked gold, silver, and platinum prices. Folks, you know, there's one thing if something's crooked to the upside, but these markets are crooked to the downside. So if you really take a look at it, they're just simply an opportunity, a gift to buy at super low, cheap, manipulated prices. So take advantage of them while you can. And my recommendation, if you don't hold it, you don't own it. And that's proven more and more true in this world. I don't care if it's the most well-intentioned company out there. If they're holding your gold, silver, or platinum, they're probably, no matter how well-intentioned they are, folks, if something happens to them, if they go belly up, they go under, so does all your investments, so does all your money, so does everything else. So there's no better thing than holding your own wealth in your own hand. And how do you do that? Tough to do with cash because it declines in value all the time. Tough to do with cryptos because, well, you know, I'll let you think of your own answer to that question. And tough to do with a lot of things. I mean, you're invested in a stock in a company or anything. At any given time, a company can go belly up. Look at the Enrons. Look at FTX, this scumbag company that just took a bunch of people's money. So let's get into that a little bit. Meanwhile, I can assure you these prices are cheap. And you don't want to hear that if you're in the sell mode, you have to sell for any reason. To raise cash, or you have to sell because, you know, you've got issues and you may not be around that long. You've got to be frustrated with the price of gold, silver, platinum. And I feel it, man. I know exactly what you're saying, but the one thing I can assure you is that when you own gold, silver, and platinum, you are never going to wake up to nothing. You're never going to wake up to zero. You're never going to wake up to, it's gone. It's gone. I'm sorry, Mr. Kuzmar. I'm sorry, Mrs. Smith, Mr. Smith. I'm sorry, Mr. Roberts. It's gone. You're not going to wake up to that unless you just, again, remember, you do have to securely hide it. You have to securely hold it. But, God, there's so many. You can hide $1 million worth of gold in a 2-slice toaster. I got a picture of it. I'll have to show it to you somewhere on here. I'll have to show it to you sometime. But it's not hard to hide a large amount of wealth in gold and silver. And I'm not talking about hiding it from, you know, the government or anything weird like that, although a lot of people would feel that they would need to. But I'm talking about hiding it from thieves and crooks and other people and keeping your gold and silver secure. I've talked about this in videos before. You know, there's a lot of things that I think are safe ways to hide gold and silver. If you're creative and you own your own home, there's unlimited amount of ways. But remember, you tell 1 or 2 people that you can trust that they know where it's at in the event something happens to you. Floor safes for people that own homes. There's all kinds of cool, you know, again, toasters. I'm just joking. And no, don't anyone get the idea that I hide all my gold and silver in a toaster. It's comical. It was done actually just for a perspective, a point of perspective, you know, to see what $1 million worth of gold would look like compared to an everyday common product or a household product, like a 2-slice toaster. Man, I got to get that photo. It's actually I think it's on one of our videos. I don't know. I can't remember. But let's take a look at gata.org, which should be on your definite read list on websites. Gata.org, they're the guys that talk about how gold and silver prices, particularly gold prices, are manipulated. Pam and Russ Martins in today's article talks about FTX casualties, including federally insured banks. Well, I guess even the crooks are not even insured against people like FTX. But meanwhile, you know, who's out there supposed to protect you from this stuff? Well, it's people like the CFTC, it's people like the CME Group. And we're going to get into that in a moment because remember the title of my video was what, folks? The pot calling the kettle black. All right, the plot deepens here. You know where I'm going with this. Closing of BIS, go lease to show valuation is near, McGuire says. I like McGuire. I think he's a very intelligent guy that blew the whistle on the BIS and you know how these the Bank of International Settlements was involved with gold leasing and driving the price of gold down for whatever manipulative reasons that they were. Again, articles that I think that you guys should be reading yourself. I can read them to you, but I think you'll get a lot more out of me pointing out to you the things that maybe you should take a look at. And most of you folks have been watching my videos. You read this. You probably read this before I even got to it. So just want to say, if you're new to my videos, one of the great sites that you should definitely bookmark on your bookmark bar if you're buying gold and silver. And they talk more about the price of gold. But FTX, let's talk about FTX. And where are we going with that? You're an absolute fraud, CME CEO, CME, Comex, that's Comex people. CEO Terry Duff. Remember Terry Duff? Well, here's who I'm calling the pot calling the kettle black. I'm saying that Terry Duff is the pot calling the kettle black for sure, because he's, in my opinion, full of shit. Meeting Sam Bankman-Fried in March 2022. Here, we're going to read this. CME Chairman and Chief Executive Officer Terry Duffy has been in the talk of social media today after a podcast appearing with CNBC's Guy Adami. Remember, the talking bullshit heads on corporate media, which wouldn't know their assholes from their elbows when it comes to fraud or comes to, anyways, they like to report after they've been fooled. And Dan Nathan began making its rounds on Monday morning. Here, let me take a sip here, folks. My throat is just a tad dry. Old Terry's senses from the days of being in the pit are as sharp as can be. Old Terry, right. He pegged FTX for a fraud before the company blew up and told Bankman-Fried as much to his face as he called in the podcast. Duffy says, this is Terry Duffy. This is the guy at the CME group. CEO Terry Duffy, all right? Again, pot calling the kettle black here. Don't forget this. Duffy says he was approached by SBF at the conference, who told me he wanted to compete with CME in crypto. Instead, Duffy says, Duffy, being the nice guy he is at the CME group, says he offered to give SBF his crypto franchise in exchange for working together. Let me be your risk manager. I'll clear it so that I know it's done properly. Now, folks, here's the pot calling the kettle black. Terry Duffy saying that, let me be your risk manager. I'll clear it so I know it's done properly. This is the very same crooked, in my opinion, crooked mother effer that allows these CME group, the silver market, to be manipulated like it is. And this is not my opinion. This is the opinion of people that are a lot smarter than me. We've been talking about the systematic rigging of the silver market in the CME group that Terry McDuffie, whatever the fuck his name is, Terry Duffy, says, let me be your risk manager. I'll clear it. So it's bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. I'm saying the pot calling the kettle black. That's Terry McDuffie calling out that hypocritical motherfucker, all right? I'm sorry I said it, but you know what? You got to just understand how rigged this silver market is in the CME group. Why you're seeing sub $20 silver in a market that's absolutely exploding to the upside in physical demand in so many different ways. So really, give me a break. This guy is completely full of it. And when SBF, the other con man, the other crook, the Ponzi kid that probably played Dungeons and Dragons and didn't know his ass from an elbow when it came to ethical business manners, all right? Duffy told him, your model is crap. Why would a deploy model introduce risk into the system? This is Terry Duffy saying, your model is crap. Again, the pot calling the kettle black. Why would I deploy a model that introduces risk into the system? The pot calling the kettle black. Here, in case you forget what that looks like, there it is right there, Terry Duffy. If you're watching, I doubt it, because you don't live in the same world as the people that you screw. And again, that's my opinion. Of course, I'm not going to deploy your model. Again, I got to make sure I answer to this guy somewhere. There's the guy that said that. The guy that said that he called out Sam Bankman-Fried for the cryptocurrency fraud. You know what he's upset about, and CME Group, in my opinion, is upset about, is they couldn't get in on the racket, okay? You're full of shit, Terry Duffy. You allow your silver markets and your gold markets to completely be fucked by large commercial traders out there. You've done it for years. Your credibility is shit with a lot of the silver people in the silver community and other communities as well. We're getting to know who you are. Again, my opinion and the people's opinion of or other people's that are much smarter than me's opinion as well. All right, I had to say it. I guess it doesn't matter. This guy will never watch this video, and if he did, he's such a smug, in my opinion, crook, allowing this to happen for so many years without calling that. It's in his marketplace, you know, and the buck stops with this guy right here. The buck stops with the people that run that place. They should not have allowed this crooked behavior to happen in the COMEX silver markets for so long. Credibility, shit. in my opinion. And again, and the opinions of people a lot smarter than me, and we're allowed to have opinions, aren't we? All right, I move along. I said it, I did it. Meanwhile, via Shift Gold, pretty good article out here. I'm sure Mr. Shift probably wouldn't appreciate me just trashing this guy and talking about his videos as well, but no less, it is what it is, man. Boy, me and my father said that to each other quite a bit. It is what it is. I said that to him many years when he would get upset. It is what it is, Dad, relax. Old school guy. I had a hard time relaxing with stuff, but you know, at some point, it is what it is. Silver demand is on pace to hit a record level in 2022, driven by new highs for physical investment, industrial demand, jewelry, silver production, according to the Silver Institute interim silver market review. So says Peter Schiff, and I like Peter Schiff. I actually contributed to his Senate campaign many, many years ago. I think it was in Connecticut, and always kind of respected the stuff that he said. Although he does not talk much about manipulation, I'm not quite sure he believes in it in the CME group markets. You don't really hear him talk about it much. But no less, I think Peter Schiff is right, saying that gold and silver has been a timeless investment, and you're never going to wake up and hear it went broke. Track record, same thing that we talk about all the time. But meanwhile, let me read the rest of this in his article. Lots of creds here. This is in Zero Hedge. You can read it yourself. Global silver demand is projected to reach a new high of 1.21 billion ounces in 2022. That would be a 16% increase from 2021. Institutional demand for silver has headwinds due to rising interest rates with Federal Reserve's inflation rate. This had led to the decrease in silver ETF holdings. Anyways, I'm kind of getting silver has come from investors' higher fear of Ukraine-Russian war. Well, you can read the rest of this, but there's some good stuff here that Peter Schiff talks about. Demand for silver and jewelry is projected to surge by 30% and 72% respectively. Again, Peter uses traditional sources of this data and information. Some of these sources I don't necessarily trust myself, like the World Gold Council when it comes to gold. I think they're just bullshit. I think they work for the BIS. But no less, conspiracy on my part. Peter also talks about silver mine output will only chart a small 1% increase in 2022. This is very important. We talked about this for the last couple of years. Mines were shut down, economies were shut down. Silver is a byproduct typically of copper, and I think it's primarily copper, right? Maybe a little bit of nickel and gold, but no less. Silver mine output dramatically lower, and if you look about, if you think about what it's going to cost to pull silver and gold and copper out of the ground in the near future, with smaller and smaller resources to do it, and higher fuel costs, and remember how much it costs to take gold and silver and platinum and oil out of the ground. It takes fuel, it takes power to do that. So I think that we're going to see a decreasing demand in mines when it comes to silver and gold. If not, maybe even if we see the same supply coming out, I think the demand is just going to far outweigh the supply coming out of the ground, but not the supply out there in bullshit paper derivative products. But that's, I can jump down that rabbit hole pretty easy, and you guys know that. Peter says, with silver prices still relatively low, this is a great time to add silver to your investment portfolio. And believe me, I had to look up there. I want to make sure I was recording this. I've done that before. Investors would benefit from an average of 4 to 6% allocation with diversified portfolio. There are signs that silver is significantly undervalued. Can't argue with that. The silver to gold ratio is currently 83 to 1. It means it takes 83 ounces. We know that as well. The average in the modern era has been 40 to 50 to 1. I haven't done the average in a long period of time, but the average in the last 20 or 30 or 40 years has been, it's been like 60 to 80 to 1 in my opinion. But again, haven't done the math like Peter did on this. Historically, the ratio has always returned to the mean, and when it does is with the bench. The ratio fell 30 to 1 in 2011. Peter did nail it in that one because I remember looking that up myself. That is true. So I think when the ratio does fall, we could see ratios in gold and silver fall as low as 30 to 1 like we did in 2011. I don't think that would be abnormal. But where is that price discovery going to happen? You can never forget it's going to happen in the crooked CME group markets. At some point, we got to replace the CME group as a place where price discovery is done with gold and silver and platinum. That's my opinion. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Well, I can go on and read this article. Silver is on sale, but it won't last long. I can't argue with that. Peter Schiff is dead on with that, and we've been saying that for quite some time. But it doesn't help folks out there that are in the need to sell, or folks that have been waiting a long time and feel a bit impatient rightfully so. But remember who's running these markets, and remember, you know, they're running them super cheap. I mean, they're on sale prices. If you're bought in already, I can understand again why you're not happy with prices not being much higher. I'm not happy either because again, these crooks, they monkey hammer this price for so many years. That again is why I've called out Terry Duff, the pot, calling the kettle black. Anyways, getting a little bit tired here. Need to grab a bite to eat, and where are we going from there? All right, Peter Schiff's article into last night's video, which was coins or bars, which are better. And you know, my opinion is, I'm going to give it to you in one sentence, neither one is better. You know what's better? Whichever has the cheapest premium, whichever is a industry recognizable product that has the cheapest price is the best deal out there. Michael Matthews, thank you for watching. 24 karat gold says, see how many Wall Streeters click on 1,300 gold and $8 silver in the next 2 weeks. Silver bars and rounds. Every buffalo needs a shade tree. Put silver in stockings as a gift this season. That's a great idea. A lot of people did that. When I was a kid, I remember working for my father that a lot of parents would come in and buy silver bars and put them in the stockings and give them to people as gifts. Still a great idea. You know, people don't throw away silver and they don't throw away gold. That's why they make such great gifts. Robert says, also, sovereign coins come with an applied insurance policy. Governments protect them from counterfeiters. Not well. You're protected with gold bars as well, and you're protected with all kinds of things from counterfeiters. It is illegal to sell fake gold bars just as much as it's illegal to sell gold eagles. Now, there are federal charges on counterfeiting U.S. coins when it comes to counterfeits, but I don't know. Most people would rather spend time in a federal prison from what I hear. So thanks, Robert. Appreciate your comments. Chris, what's up? Appreciate that. 100,000 subscribers. I sure would like that myself. And again, if I ever get out to California, would definitely come by and visit you in wine country. And yeah, I know how you feel there. Temporary says Chris Powell is making claims of precious metal suppression. I don't hear you talk about him much. Just my man crush, which is Ted Butler. Yeah, Ted Butler, man. I think he's, when it comes to silver manipulation, he's the #1 guy. But Chris Powell does. Chris Powell is the GATA.org guy I was talking about. I always give credit to GATA.org. So I may not talk about Chris Powell much, but I do give a lot of credit to GATA.org because they talk about gold manipulation mostly. That's what Chris Powell talks about mostly, more than silver. But no less, yeah, a lot of creds to both Chris Powell and GATA.org. William Price says round and bars are the same. Round is just right. Yeah, exactly, 100%. Thanks, William. You're absolutely right about that. Tom Theros' coins are popular. Be 20-ish of money. Oh, pretty cool. Temporary, pretty cool. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to say pretty cool. I was just saying that you're right. Coins are more popular, most popular, but not always for the best reasons. You know, it's all about getting the cheapest premium. Temporary. I haven't seen Chart Guy in a while. Chart Guy kind of made a couple comments out there, and I really respected his comments. I liked him. I think he's a really excellent guy when it comes to doing that. But the charts really didn't materialize in kind of what he was reading. And again, my premise, and if Chart Guy, if you're listening out there, this is not a slight, but my premise has always been that you can't really, it's hard to figure it. You can look at charts, and charts are kind of look like in the rearview mirror, and a lot of times what's happened in the past will happen in the future. But when these markets are manipulated by not individuals, but by groups, and maybe individuals, you can't predict what these people are going to do and when and how. And again, against all logic, silver is super cheap, yet it's just impossible, not impossible to find, but physical silver has been in full demand for a long time, and there's not a lot of it out there. Well, anyways, we talk about that all the time. Anthony, the silver buffalo rounds are wonderful. Yeah, they are a pretty cool design. Thanks, Anthony. My first silver eagle, 86 would be the first year for silver eagles. I think they hold a good premium as well. What are they worth now, 30, 40 bucks or more or something like that? Welco, what's up? Anonymous Andy, how exactly are premiums determined? Who sets them? Thanks in advance. I think that supply and demand, it's kind of interesting when it comes to physical gold, silver, and bars. I'm not sure about the sovereign products like silver eagles and maples. You have to have a contract with the U.S. government or the Canadian government in order to buy gold and silver eagles. But when it comes to the private mints, it really depends on who owns them. And remember that JM Bullion, one of the advantages that they have when it comes to generic 1 ounce rounds and such is they own part of Silvertown, I believe, and they own a few other mints out there. But more or less, again, the demand sets the tone for what the premiums are. The wholesale demand and the retail demand. But without the retail, there would be no wholesale demand. So that's what sets the tone out there, supply and demand factors. And that's the truth. It's one of the few markets out there that isn't highly manipulated like you see with the silver discovery price at the CME Group markets, the paper markets. The physical markets are really, here's your silver. I'm going to sell it to you. When do I get it? How much do I got to pay for it? And it better be here when I want it, okay? Not like paper bullshit, all right? So that's how it's determined. Jay says the primary difference between rounds and coins are the reporting requirements. To some degree, it depends on what you're talking about. As far as the amount you can buy, yes and no. And when it comes to coins, there's coins that are, some coins are required and certain reporting requirements, whereas others aren't. So it's really a fucked up, weird, convoluted gray area, and it's only designed that way just to confuse people and make them pay more taxes and report more shit than they have to. Thanks for commenting, Jay. Linda Compton says good information. Hey, good viewers out there and great comments. Thank you, Linda. Appreciate that. Joe McDonald's. No, you're not an idiot, dude. Come on, you buy. It is what it is. You buy what you like out there, and you only live once. YOLO. Silas says, love Gold Eagles, Buffaloes, but premiums, absolutely crazy. Agree with you. Kilos, 10-ounce bars are the best deals out there. And you should splurge on things that you like as well, because, again, you only live once. I always forget that because I just look at gold and silver and platinum in their bar form. I don't care. But there are things that are pretty, and there are things that you enjoy. Maybe I'm a bit jaded. I've seen so much of this stuff that, all I can think about is how to turn it over into dollars. Silverliner says, Alan Greenspan once said we'd be able to pay our debt because we can always print money. That's true. Bang on. And Girls at 18 Site says, have a good time. Find your love. Well, I hope you do, and have yourself a great evening there. Wayne Burbank says, great. So thank you, Wayne. I appreciate that. Well, that's it, folks. This is Brian Kuzmar, and pretty cool little video here. Here's a live Lauderdale by the Sea cam, the new one. As you see, appears missing right here. There's no electricity out there, so you can't see anything. And it looks like they're going to be putting the tree up here soon in town as well. But meanwhile, let's get into the quote of the year. Haven't been saying it much in the last 3-4 weeks or something like that, but it's been pretty consistent in most all my videos, which is think for yourself and question authority. And I told you at the beginning of the year when I started this quote that I would end it, and I will. You won't have to see it again. I think I burned it into enough people's brains out there how important this is for yourself, how important it is to teach your kids, your grandkids, and the people around you. Think for yourself and always question authority. Well, this is Brian Kuzmar with Concierge Bullion.com. If you live anywhere in the continent of the U.S. And you're buying larger amounts of gold and silver, more than 1,500 ounces of silver, more than 100 ounces of gold, call us at ConciergeBullion.com. You can also call us at Commercial Rare Coins and Precious Metals as well. We do it there. But if you do, this is kind of a whole different kind of, again, an area where we can ship. If you live in South Florida, anywhere in South Florida, or you're visiting our store down here, you can come in anytime, and you don't have to buy 1,500 ounces or 100 ounces of gold. You can buy $1 worth of gold, silver, and platinum. This is our brick and mortar in Lauderdale by the Sea. We're open 10 to 4 Mondays through Fridays, except for this Thursday and Friday, Saturday and Sunday. We're going to take a long week off for 4 days, and for the turkey season, actually. And again, if you live in South Florida, visit us at Commercial Rare Coins and Precious Metals. There's our number. We're open 10 to 4 Mondays through Fridays. And we also do rare coins and other cool stuff as well. And folks, also don't forget, I'm on Twitter. You got any questions, ask me out there. I've been actually looking at it a little bit more and more, playing around with it. And it's just go look for me. What am I? I am Brian Kuzmar at BrianKuzmar.com. I've been posting some videos out there as well. Oh, and I forgot. I back up everything on Rumble, so for some weird reason, you never know, maybe like this video, you don't see me, check me out there as well. Well, folks, thanks. Have yourself a great evening, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye now.